This is the final part of our journey, and the most exciting part of Dracula. The hunters are now very close to Dracula. Everyone has a different mission, but they all have the same goal: to find Dracula and destroy him before he reaches his castle. Jonathan and Lord Godalming chase him by steam launch, while Dr. Seward and Quincey Morris follow along the river on horseback. Meanwhile, Mina and Van Helsing travel toward Dracula's castle. The weather is getting colder. Snow is coming, and every minute is important. Will they catch Dracula before he reaches his castle? Or will Dracula escape once again? Let's continue with the final and most thrilling part of the story. The group meets Mina shortly before sunset. They have learned that sunrise and sunset are special times for her. During these times, Dracula's control over her becomes weaker, and Mina can think and act more like her normal self. Mina tells Jonathan, Van Helsing, Quincey, and Godalming that they may all be together freely for the last time. She knows that they are going to face a dangerous mission against Dracula. She says there is a terrible poison in her body and soul. She fears that Dracula may completely control her. Mina says that if she becomes completely controlled by Dracula, she wants her friends to kill her. She asks them to make sure that Dracula cannot continue using her after death. She wants them to give her peace. Quincey Morris kneels before Mina and promises that he will do what she has asked if the terrible time comes. Mina becomes emotional and thanks him. Van Helsing, Lord Godalming, and Dr. Seward also promise Mina that they will do their duty if she becomes completely changed by Dracula. Jonathan is deeply upset because he is Mina's husband. Mina tells Jonathan that he must also promise to kill her if she becomes Dracula's creature. She tells him that she loves him more than anyone, but she does not want him to hesitate if the time comes. Mina makes one more request. She asks Jonathan to read the burial service over her someday. Jonathan is very sad because he does not want to think about Mina dying. Jonathan begins reading the burial service. Everyone kneels around Mina. The scene is very sad, frightening, but also beautiful because all of them deeply love and care for Mina. Later, Jonathan writes about their journey. On October 12th, they leave Charing Cross, travel to Paris, and then take the Orient Express toward Varna. They are waiting for the ship Tsarina Catherine, which they believe will help them continue their pursuit of Dracula. They arrive in Varna around 5 o'clock. Lord Godalming goes to the consulate to look for a telegram, while the others go to the Odysseus Hotel. Jonathan is mainly thinking about Mina and the arrival of the Tsarina Catherine. Jonathan is happy because Mina looks healthier and stronger. Her color is returning, and she sleeps a lot during the journey, but sunrise and sunset remain special times for her. At sunrise and sunset, Van Helsing hypnotizes Mina. He asks her what she can see and hear. Mina answers him, allowing the group to learn information that she cannot normally remember. The group waits in Varna for the ship Tsarina Catherine. Their plan is to follow Dracula and stop him before he reaches his castle. During hypnosis, Mina says she can hear waves hitting the ship. She hears the water rushing, the ropes and sails moving, and the wind blowing strongly. This tells Van Helsing that the Tsarina Catherine is still at sea and moving toward Varna. Lord Godalming receives telegrams from London every day. Each message says that the Tsarina Catherine has not yet been reported. The group continues waiting for the ship. Van Helsing explains their plan. They want to get onto the ship after sunrise but before sunset. Dracula cannot cross running water by himself, so he cannot leave the ship. Because he is hiding inside a box, they hope to find the box and destroy him before he wakes. The group expects that officials and sailors may cause problems. Godalming says they have enough money to make things easier. They jokingly call this plan Judge Moneybag, meaning that money can solve their problems. Mina's hypnotic report is still the same, lapping waves and rushing water. This means the ship is still somewhere at sea. Godalming gets permission to search the ship's cargo. The group makes a clear plan. If they find Dracula inside the box, Van Helsing and Seward will destroy him, while Jonathan, Quincey, and Godalming will stop anyone from interfering. They arrange for officials to tell them immediately when the Tsarina Catherine is seen. They are ready to act. After a whole week of waiting, they finally receive important news. A telegram from Lloyd says, Tsarina Catherine reported this morning from Dardanelles. The ship is getting closer. Dr. Seward says everyone becomes extremely excited when they hear the news. Mina does not know what is happening because they carefully hide the information from her. Van Helsing and Seward are worried because Mina is becoming increasingly tired and sleepy. Van Helsing secretly examines Mina's teeth while she is hypnotized. He is watching for signs that her teeth are beginning to become sharper. If this happens, they know that Dracula's influence over Mina may be becoming stronger. Seward says that if Mina becomes completely changed, they may have to take a terrible action. He calls this euthanasia, meaning ending someone's life to prevent greater suffering. At noon, there is still no news of the ship. Jonathan remains calm, but his hands are cold. Seward discovers him sharpening his large cookery knife. Jonathan is clearly preparing himself for Dracula. Mina falls into a deep sleep. Mina becomes very sleepy and falls into a deep sleep. Van Helsing and Seward are worried at first, but she later wakes up looking stronger and healthier. At sunset, she gives her usual hypnotic report. The Count is still traveling toward his destination. The ship still has not arrived. The group thinks fog may have delayed it because other ships have reported fog around the area. They continue watching the sea. Mina says that the waves sound very faint. Van Helsing becomes very worried. He fears that Dracula may be escaping them. He says that strange things can happen to souls and memories during hypnosis. Finally, they receive a telegram. Tsarina Catherine reported entering Galatz at 1 o'clock today. The ship did not go to Varna. It has gone to Galatz. The group immediately realizes that their plan must change. Van Helsing is serious and raises his hand toward heaven. Lord Godalming becomes very pale. Quincey tightens his belt, showing that he is ready for action. Mina becomes very pale and prays. Jonathan smiles bitterly, but his hand immediately goes to his cookery. Van Helsing asks, "When does the next train start for Galatz?" Mina surprisingly knows the answer, 6:30 tomorrow morning. Everyone is surprised. Mina explains that she has always loved studying train schedules. She used to make timetables for Jonathan, and she learned the train routes carefully because she knew that they might have to travel toward Dracula's castle through Galatz or Bucharest. Van Helsing calls her a wonderful woman. Van Helsing organizes everyone. Godalming will get the train tickets. Jonathan will contact the ship's agent. Quincey will speak to the vice-consul. Seward will stay with Mina and Van Helsing. They will all leave for Galatz the next morning. Mina says something very important. She feels freer than she has felt for a long time. She says she wants to help the group and return to writing and thinking as she used to. The younger men are happy to hear this, but Van Helsing and Seward remain worried because they know something may be changing inside Mina. Van Helsing talks privately with Dr. Seward. After the three men leave, Van Helsing asks Mina to find Jonathan's old diary. When Mina leaves the room, Van Helsing tells Seward that he thinks something has changed. He has a new idea, but he is afraid that the idea might be wrong. Van Helsing believes that Dracula used Mina during hypnosis to learn what the group was doing. Dracula may have made Mina see him inside his box on the ship. Because Mina could hear the waves and the ship, Dracula discovered that the hunters were waiting for him in Varna. Van Helsing believes Dracula now knows that the group is waiting for him. Dracula has therefore separated himself from Mina so that she cannot easily discover where he is. Van Helsing thinks this may actually become a mistake. That helps them. Van Helsing tells Seward that they must not tell Mina what happened during her trance. He wants Mina to remain hopeful and brave. He also believes Mina's intelligence is extremely important in defeating Dracula. Mina returns with Jonathan's diary. Mina comes back with several pages of Jonathan's typewritten diary. Van Helsing reads them carefully. He suddenly becomes very interested because Jonathan's diary contains an important clue about Dracula's past. Jonathan had written about Dracula's ancestor, a great warrior who repeatedly attacked Turkey. When that warrior was defeated, he returned to his own country, prepared himself again, and came back to fight another time. Van Helsing realizes that Dracula has done the same thing. Dracula came to England to conquer a new land. The hunters defeated him and made his position dangerous, so Dracula escaped back toward his homeland just as his ancestor had once retreated across the Danube. Van Helsing realizes that Dracula's repeating a pattern from his past. Van Helsing tells Mina to explain what she understands. He wants to hear her idea because he believes her mind is very intelligent and useful. Mina realizes that Dracula is a criminal who follows his old habits when he is in danger. Mina explains, Dracula is selfish, and his mind works like a child's in some ways. When he is in danger, he returns to the same methods he used before. He has one main goal: to survive and protect himself. Mina realizes something wonderful. Because Dracula is concentrating on escaping and protecting himself, his power over her has become weaker. She says that her soul feels freer than it has felt since the terrible night when Dracula attacked her. She thanks God for this. Van Helsing tells Mina that Dracula did use her mind. Because of Mina's trance, Dracula learned that the hunters were waiting in Varna. This caused the group to wait in the wrong place while Dracula's ship went toward Galatz. Van Helsing explains that Dracula's selfish plan may become his biggest mistake. Dracula thinks he has escaped the hunters completely. He believes that because he has cut himself off from Mina's mind, she can no longer discover him. But Van Helsing believes Dracula is wrong. Van Helsing explains something very important. Because of Dracula's blood connection with Mina, she can still reach him spiritually during certain times, especially around sunrise and sunset. Mina has been able to enter a trance and sense where Dracula is. Dracula does not realize that Mina still has this ability. Van Helsing says that Dracula has created his own problem. Dracula thinks he has escaped. But by separating himself from Mina, he has also stopped himself from knowing what the hunter know. The hunters can still use Mina's special connection to follow him. Van Helsing says that they are not selfish like Dracula. They believe that God is helping them. They are willing to risk their lives to stop Dracula. They will follow him wherever he goes. Van Helsing tells Dr. Seward to write down everything that happened. When Jonathan, Quincey, and Godalming return, they will read the information and understand the new plan. Mina also continues typing the important information on her typewriter. On October 29th, the group travels by train from Varna to Galatz. Everyone has finished preparing for the journey. They are ready to continue their hunt for Dracula. Before sunset, Mina prepares for her usual hypnosis. This time, Van Helsing has much more difficulty putting her into a trance. He asks her several questions before she finally answers. Mina says, "I can see nothing." She hears water moving around the ship, men calling, oars moving, ropes and chains being dragged, and a gun firing in the distance. Then she feels air blowing on her. Mina suddenly sits up and raises her hands. The group understands that her hypnotic connection with Dracula is ending. Then she opens her eyes and calmly asks, "Would none of you like a cup of tea?" She does not remember what happened during the trance. Van Helsing explains that Dracula is now close to land. Dracula has probably left his earth box, but he still needs to reach the shore. If he cannot get onto land before sunrise, he may be trapped on the ship during the daytime. The group waits until morning because Mina may be able to tell them more when the sun rises. They are very anxious because every minute is important. At sunrise, Mina enters hypnosis again. She says, "All is dark. I hear lapping water and creaking wood." But the sun rises before she can say anything more. The group must wait until sunset. The train is already 3 hours late at Bucharest. This means they will arrive at Galatz after sunrise. They hope that Mina can give them 2 more hypnotic messages before they arrive. At sunset, Mina enters hypnosis again, but it is even harder than before. She says, "Something is going out." She feels something like a cold wind passing her. She hears strange voices, rushing water, and wolves howling. After the trance, Mina is cold, tired, and weak. She cannot remember what she said. She thinks deeply about the strange words when the others tell her what happened. The next morning, the group is very close to Galatz. Van Helsing tries to hypnotize Mina earlier than usual, but it does not work until just before sunrise. During the trance, Mina hears water and wood creaking. Then she hears cattle far away. She begins to describe another strange sound, but she suddenly becomes pale. Van Helsing desperately tells her, "Go on. Speak." But the sun rises. Mina wakes and remembers nothing. The train whistles as they approach Galatz. Everyone is extremely anxious and excited. They know that Dracula's trail has brought them here. When they arrive, Quincey takes Mina to the hotel. The others divide their jobs. Lord Godalming goes to the vice-consul, while Jonathan, Van Helsing, and Seward go to the shipping agents to learn about the Tsarina Catherine. Jonathan, Van Helsing, and Seward visit Mackenzie Steinkopf, the shipping agents. They are taken aboard the Tsarina Catherine. There they meet the captain, Donaldson. Captain Donaldson says the voyage from London was unusually fast. A strong wind pushed the ship toward the Black Sea, but something strange happened. Whenever they approached another ship, port, or coastline, fog appeared. The fog stayed around the ship for several days. The sailors could not see other ships or the coastline. The captain began to feel that something unusual was happening. After passing the Bosphorus, some sailors became frightened by a large box that had been placed on the ship in London. They wanted the captain to throw it into the river. The box had been brought aboard by a strange-looking old man. The Romanian sailors believe the box is connected with evil. They want to throw it into the Danube. But the captain refuses because the box belongs to his owners. One morning before sunrise, a man arrives with papers from England. He has permission to take the box marked for Count Dracula. The captain is actually happy to get rid of the strange box. The captain gives them a receipt. The man who took the box was named Emanuel Hildesheim. This gives the hunters their next clue. The group finds Hildesheim at his office. He explains that he was paid to receive Dracula's box before sunrise so that it could avoid customs. He then gave the box to a man named Petrov. Skinsky. The group searches for Skinsky, but he has disappeared. His landlord says that Skinsky left 2 days earlier and sent the house key and rent by messenger. The hunters are once again stuck. Suddenly, they hear terrible news. Skinsky's body has been found inside the wall of a churchyard. His throat has been torn open as if by a wild animal. People believe that a Slovak is responsible. The group believes that Dracula's box is still being transported somewhere by water, but they do not know where it is going. They return to the hotel with heavy hearts to meet Mina. When everyone meets again, they discuss whether Mina should be told everything. The situation is becoming desperate. They know that bringing Mina into the full plan is dangerous, but she may be their best chance of finding Dracula. Jonathan is finally released from his promise not to tell Mina everything. Mina discovers an important clue about Dracula. The group realizes that Dracula is traveling by water inside his box. He cannot leave the box during the day because people carrying it might discover what is inside. They decide to follow him quickly before he reaches his castle. The group divides into teams. Lord Godalming and Jonathan will follow Dracula by a steam launch on the river. Dr. Seward and Quincey Morris will follow the riverbank on horses. Van Helsing and Mina will travel toward Dracula's castle. They all carry weapons because they expect danger. Jonathan does not want Mina to go near Dracula's castle. He is afraid that Dracula's power may hurt her again. He becomes very emotional because he remembers the terrible things that happened to Mina. Van Helsing tells him that he will protect Mina. Jonathan finally accepts the plan and says that they are in God's hands. Mina says goodbye to Jonathan. The group prepares everything very quickly. They get a steam launch, horses, maps, money, weapons, warm clothes. Mina and Van Helsing will travel by train and then continue by carriage toward the Borgo Pass. Mina is very sad because she knows that she may never see Jonathan again. Jonathan and Lord Godalming travel at night in their steam launch. They believe Dracula's boat will travel through the Sereth River and then the Bystritza River. The night is dark and cold. Jonathan is worried about Mina and cannot sleep. He knows that she is traveling toward Dracula's castle while he is chasing Dracula on the river. During the journey, Jonathan and Godalming stop and check boats. They are looking for Dracula's large box. Some people become frightened when they see the men and their bright lamp. Some even kneel and pray. Later, they hear that a large boat passed through the river with extra men on board. This makes them think that Dracula may be getting closer to his castle. Dr. Seward and Quincey Morris are traveling on horseback along the river. They have almost no time to rest because every minute is important. The weather becomes colder, and they see signs that snow is coming. They are worried that heavy snow could stop their journey. If the snow becomes too deep, they plan to use a sledge to continue. The group learns that Godalming's steam launch has been stopped by an accident while trying to pass through dangerous rapids. The local Slovak boats know how to pass the rapids using ropes and special steering. With their help, Godalming fixes the launch, and they continue the chase. However, the boat is damaged and keeps stopping sometimes. Mina and Van Helsing arrive at Veresti. Van Helsing tells Mina that hypnotizing her has become difficult. The only thing she could say that morning was, "Dark and quiet." Van Helsing leaves to buy a carriage and horses for their journey. They have more than 70 miles to travel. Van Helsing returns with the carriage and horses. They prepare a large amount of food because they may not find good food for a whole week. He also buys many fur coats, warm clothes, and blankets because the weather is becoming extremely cold. They are preparing for a long and dangerous journey through the mountains. Before leaving, Mina becomes very emotional. She is afraid of what might happen to her and Van Helsing. She knows that they are entering a dangerous journey and trusts that God will protect them. Her greatest concern is Jonathan. She hopes that whatever happens, he will always know that she loved and respected him deeply. Mina and Van Helsing are now ready to leave. Behind them, Jonathan and Godalming continue the chase on the river, while Seward and Quincey are racing on horseback. The weather is getting colder, the journey is becoming more dangerous, and Dracula is getting closer to his castle. Mina and Van Helsing travel quickly through the cold mountains. They change horses and continue toward the Borgo Pass. Mina is worried about Jonathan, but she remains brave. Van Helsing hypnotizes Mina at sunrise. She can only say what she senses: darkness, creaking wood, and roaring water. This tells them that Dracula is still traveling on the river. The mountains become higher and wilder. Mina and Van Helsing continue toward the Borgo Pass. They know they are getting very close to Dracula's castle. Van Helsing finally sees the castle in the distance. He feels both happy and afraid because he knows the final part of their journey is near. Van Helsing makes a holy circle around Mina to protect her. Mina tries to leave the circle, but she cannot. Van Helsing realizes that Dracula's evil has affected her. During the night, the horses suddenly become frightened. They scream and pull against their ropes. Van Helsing realizes that something supernatural is nearby. Snow and mist begin to form strange shapes. Van Helsing slowly realizes that the three vampire women Jonathan saw before are standing near them. Mina tells Van Helsing not to leave the circle because it is safe. She is strangely calm while the vampire women move closer. Van Helsing sees the scar on Mina's forehead and understands why the women cannot enter the circle. The three vampire women come closer through the snow. They smile at Mina and point toward her. Their sweet voices make the scene even more frightening. The three vampire women call Mina to come to them. Van Helsing is frightened, but he looks at Mina and sees fear and horror in her eyes. He realizes that Mina is still not one of them. Van Helsing uses the holy wafer and the fire to protect himself and Mina. The vampire women cannot enter the protected circle. They stay outside and laugh. They wait through the cold night. When the sun rises, the vampire women disappear into the snow and mist. Van Helsing feels hopeful again. When daylight comes, Van Helsing discovers that all the horses have died. Mina is still sleeping deeply, and he becomes very worried about her. The steam launch has an accident, so Jonathan and Lord Godalming lose valuable time. They leave the boat and continue the chase on horses. Jonathan is terrified for Mina. Seward and Morris see the skeiny traveling with Dracula's large wagon. They know the final chase is beginning. Van Helsing leaves Mina safely inside the protected circle and goes to Dracula's castle. He breaks open the old doors and searches for the vampires' resting places. Inside the castle, Van Helsing finds the three vampire women sleeping in their tombs. Their beauty almost distracts him, but he remembers Mina and continues his dangerous mission. Van Helsing finds a huge tomb with one word written on it: Dracula. He puts a holy wafer inside the tomb so Dracula can never use it as his resting place again. Van Helsing completes his terrible work. The vampire women are finally destroyed and return to dust. Their souls are released from their vampire existence. Van Helsing returns to Mina. She wakes up and tells him they must leave the terrible place. She believes Jonathan is coming toward them. Mina and Van Helsing travel east through the snow. They look back and see Dracula's enormous castle high above the mountains. From the mountain, Mina sees the river far below. It looks like a dark ribbon crossing the white snow. Van Helsing watches carefully for danger. Suddenly, Van Helsing sees something in the distance. A group of horsemen is coming through the snow. In the middle is a large wagon, the wagon carrying Dracula. Mina and Van Helsing hide in a rocky shelter high in the mountains. They watch the road below and wait for Dracula's wagon. A group of gypsies ride across the snowy mountains. They are carrying Dracula's large wooden box in a wagon. Jonathan, Quincey Morris, Dr. Seward, and Lord Godalming chase the gypsies through the snow. They must reach the wagon before sunset. Wolves come down from the mountains. They gather around the travelers and howl as the sun begins to set. The four men surround the gypsies and order them to stop. The gypsies prepare to fight, but Van Helsing and Mina also point their weapons at them. Jonathan reaches the wagon and throws Dracula's heavy wooden chest to the ground. He and Quincey quickly open the box. Dracula lies inside the wooden chest. His face is pale and his red eyes look toward the setting sun. Jonathan attacks Dracula with his cookery knife. He cuts Dracula's throat just as the sun reaches the mountain tops. Quincey Morris stabs Dracula in the heart with his Bowie knife. Together, Jonathan and Quincey destroy the Count. Dracula's body suddenly crumbles into dust and disappears. The curse is finally broken. Quincey Morris is badly wounded. Before he dies, he sees Mina free from Dracula's curse and dies with a peaceful smile. As the sun rises, Mina is finally free from Dracula's curse. The long nightmare is over. Years later, Jonathan and Mina have a son. They name him Quincey in memory of their brave friend. Dracula's castle remains standing in the empty mountains, but the evil that lived there is gone.